Jimmy Uso returned to WWE this month after being away for almost 6 months. The comeback followed concerning comments made by Rikishi, who is vocal online about his sons and the company they work for. Rikishi is now revealing his blind reaction to Jimmy's return, which even surprised the WWE Hall of Famer. The Kish is a father of 8, including Jimmy, G. Uso, and Solo Sikoa. Too Cool's Dancing Simone regularly shares his thoughts on pro wrestling, mainly happenings related to the Inoue family, on his podcast and social media. The 59-year-old raised concern for Jimmy a few weeks back by asking fans to keep praying for the older Uso brother. While he has since offered a follow-up on why he asked fans to pray, Naomi's husband returned 18 days later in Bad Blood, helping Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes defeat Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Rikishi made sure Jimmy's WWE return was not spoiled. The 40-year industry veteran told his son not to inform him of return plans ahead of time, as he was a bit concerned with Jimmy's health and future. Speaking on his Off the Top podcast, he recalled being surprised during Bad Blood, just like the fans were. Friday's SmackDown main event loss to Solo was Jimmy's first match since losing to G at WrestleMania XL. After interference by the Bloodline during the match, the post-match angle saw Roman save Jimmy. However, the 4-on-2 beatdown ended with Reigns and Uso laid out to close the show. WWE Intercontinental Champion Jey Uso has been a top Raw superstar since joining the brand. Cody Rhodes brought him to WWE's flagship show shortly after walking out on the Bloodline and SmackDown last year. After Solo Sikoa and his Bloodline took out Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns on SmackDown, the episode ended with Jimmy telling his older cousin that they needed help. Jimmy then shockingly returned to Raw last night. The older Uso brother tried to convince G to hear him out twice, but he was not interested. Main Event G is set to defend the Intercontinental Championship against former champion Braun Breaker on next week's Raw. It will be interesting to see if Jimmy gets involved as the new Uso storyline continues. The world of professional wrestling is no stranger to shocking returns, twists, and turns that leave fans on the edge of their seats. Yet, sometimes the most emotional reactions don't come from the crowd, but from those who have deeply personal connections to the talent in the ring. Such was the case when WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi found himself blindsided by the return of his son, Jimmy Uso, in an unexpected WWE storyline that shook the wrestling world to its core. Rikishi, a legend in his own right, has always been the proud father of Jimmy and Jey Uso, who together form one of the most iconic tag teams in WWE history. Their Samoan heritage and family legacy in wrestling run deep, spanning generations of talented performers who grace the squared circle. However, nothing could have prepared Rikishi for the raw emotion that came flooding in when Jimmy made a surprise comeback after a tumultuous storyline departure. For Rikishi, Jimmy's return to WWE wasn't just another scripted moment, it was deeply personal. As a father who has seen his sons grow up in the wrestling business, Rikishi has always been keenly aware of the physical and emotional toll the sport can take. His relationship with both Jimmy and Jey has been forged not just in blood, but in the shared experiences of the WWE world. They've faced triumphs, injuries, and setbacks together, all while carrying on the prestigious Inoue family legacy. So when Jimmy, who had previously been written off WWE television in a dramatic fashion, made his unexpected return, it wasn't just a storyline development for Rikishi. It was a moment that took him back to the countless hours of hard work and sacrifice his family had put into their craft. It was a father seeing his son step back into the limelight, ready to take on the challenges of the business once more. The most interesting aspect of Rikishi's reaction to Jimmy's return was the fact that he was entirely unaware of it beforehand. Unlike many wrestling families where backstage stories and plans are often shared, Rikishi found out about his son's comeback in real time, alongside the fans. This was not a typical reaction from a man who had spent decades in the industry. It was raw, unfiltered, and full of pride. In interviews after the event, Rikishi expressed how deeply the moment touched him. "I didn't know what was coming," he admitted with a chuckle. "They didn't tell me anything. I was sitting there, watching like everyone else. And then, boom, there he was. Jimmy was back." For a man who has seen nearly everything in the world of professional wrestling, this was a moment that struck a chord. Rikishi wasn't just watching his son perform. He was witnessing a pivotal moment in Jimmy's career, and his reaction was nothing short of genuine. He admitted that it brought tears to his eyes, not just because of the magnitude of the return, but because of the sheer surprise of it all. "I've been in this business for a long time," Rikishi said, "but moments like these remind you that it's not just a job. It's family, it's personal, and I couldn't be prouder of Jimmy for coming back the way he did." Jimmy's return wasn't just a sentimental moment for his family, but a shocking twist in one of WWE's most intense storylines. For months, fans have been embroiled in the drama between the Bloodline, a faction led by Roman Reigns, which at one point included Jimmy and Jimmy Uso. Tensions had escalated within the group, leading to betrayals and breakups that left the WWE Universe wondering what would come next. After Jimmy's unexpected betrayal of his brother Jay, it seemed like the once unbreakable Uso bond had shattered. Jay, tired of the manipulation and toxicity surrounding the Bloodline, appeared to walk away from everything. And then, just when the fans thought the story had reached a conclusion, Jimmy resurfaced. His return brought new questions to the forefront. Was he rejoining the Bloodline? Was he still at odds with G? Or was there an even bigger plot at play? Rikishi, like the rest of the world, had to watch and wait to see how the story would unfold. But as a father, his emotions went beyond the storyline. He could see the layers of complexity in the narrative. But more than that, he saw his sons, his flesh and blood, navigating the pressure of living up to the Anoa'i legacy.